Well, guys, we've made it. We're right here at the end of the summer blockbuster season. And in all honesty, it's not been that great of one. We've had a few hits recently, but by and large, most of the summer didn't do that great. But there's one, maybe 2 weeks left of bigger releases, but nothing huge. And I just want to go ahead and do something a little different for the channel and kind of just dig through the catalog of what's left for this year of 2024 and see what's coming out and what we possibly could be looking forward to and what might be coming out that you didn't know was coming out, and just take a deeper dive into what's going on with the rest of this year. So let's go ahead and dig into it. As always, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff, because it helps us a ton. And if you want to stay on top of the news and what is happening in the entertainment industry, make sure to follow us, because I am covering the things that no one else is. And also visit criticalist.com. You can download the app in your app stores, Android or Apple, or just find us on the website. So make sure to do that as well. So digging into this calendar here and what we have going on this year, I just want to kind of freeform this, run through what we've got going on, what's coming out, where we're at, and just kind of dig through the catalog for the year. So we're right here. It's August 9th, where it's starting to feel like the end of the release calendar. Now, there's 3 big-ish movies coming out. One that would typically be considered a blockbuster, the bigger of films, but it kind of also feels like it's being sent to die, which is Borderlands. This one's just odd. I don't know what to make of this movie. I'm actually going to be seeing it tomorrow. This is directed by Eli Roth. This would have normally been considered a bigger release. The cast is stacked. I mean, we've got, Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Edgar Ramirez, Jamie Lee Curtis. We've got Jack Black. There's a lot of people in this movie. But the question is the cast enough to sell it? And is this franchise enough to sell it? And I mean, I've played all the Borderlands games. I love them to varying degrees, but Borderlands 2, I think, was the pinnacle. And, it's kind of been so-so since then. But I think that it's a fun and cool franchise. But the question is, can they get people to show up to the theaters for it, especially in a year like this year? And coming up, even though it's on week 3 of Deadpool and Wolverine, what are they going to be able to do against that movie? I do not know. Now, the other thing about this film is that it's coming up against 2 other things, which is It Ends With Us and Cuckoo. Now, granted, both of these movies are very different. One of which is a drama romance starring Blake Lively, and the other of which is a horror mystery thriller. These things tend to be lower key, but sometimes can surprise and can regularly make more than their budget in the opening weekend, just due to how the horror audience works. Now, It Ends With Us might be the sleeper hit. We already have, Blake Lively doing press with Ryan Reynolds, which has been interesting to see, and it makes sense. And then also they're having people like Hugh Jackman come to the premiere, and this is actually based off of a novel, which is pretty well loved. And my sisters, who are actually in the book industry and make books, have told me that they think this is going to be a sleeper hit, and this might kind of come out of left field and surprise few people with what it can do. So I'm interested to see. This is a PG-13 romance movie with Blake Lively. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. And then Cuckoo, you have the wild card of horror movies. So this weekend's going to be a real toss-up, because we've got these 3 bigger films, and they're coming up against a lot of bigger things as well. Now, next weekend, the big thing coming out is Alien Romulus. This is the big thing that I know anything about, and I think that this will be potentially the big hit. This looks like a real return to form for the Alien franchise. I have not even been watching many trailers for it, simply because I was excited about it, and because this is directed by Fede Alvarez, who I think is an excellent horror director. He did the Evil Dead remake, which I think is awesome. He did Don't Breathe, which is also a great film. And I think that this guy just gets horror. He gets gore. This is going to be an over-the-top, from what I gather, kind of more gory, real gritty alien film. So I think that this could potentially do well. It's got good word of mouth, and this was supposed to be a streaming movie, and it's actually hitting theaters, which I think is pretty wild, and I think is promising for what they think this movie can do, and I think it's potentially a smart movie. So we will be seeing it, we'll be reviewing it, so make sure to check that out when you do. And as far as the rest of the things coming out that weekend, this skincare movie, this is a thriller film, but I think it's still lower key. Everything else is, not on the big radars as far as that goes. Now, they could, if anything from this week goes well, they could be competing against some of these things. So that could affect Alien Romulus, but I don't think that Cuckoo, as far as the horror mystery thriller genre, is going to be the only thing that's going to really deeply compete. And I don't know that will. I mean, that's going to have a shorter runtime as far as for people showing up in theaters for it. Now, following weekend after that, we've got something interesting here, which is The Crow. This is a remake of an 80s film, and I don't know. The buzz about it is not great. Initial talks were pretty high. People were very up on it, really wanting to see it. And then the trailer came out, and we get, Bill Skarsgård doing his Joker tattoo situation, and people started kind of turning on it a little bit. But I don't know. This could be a sleeper hit. This could be one of those that potentially, Gen Z is showing up for and thinks is like the coolest thing ever, and don't know anything about the original, and just think that this is the one. So, and Bill Skarsgård, I mean, he is becoming the horror king. I mean, seriously, like he's the scream king at this point, and I really like his performances, what he does. I saw him in Boy Kills World this year. It was arguably one of my favorite, if not my favorite movie of this year so far. And so I'm here to see what he does. I like his performances, and I think he's a really solid actor. And, I'm not one of those diehards for the original film, so maybe this could be cool. I'll definitely plan on checking it out. But as far as what it does in the box office, I don't know. That's a real toss-up. I don't think it's going to do gangbusters. Now, we do have this Blink Twice movie, and this is, Christian Slater, Channing Tatum, and this is actually directed by Zoe Kravitz. They are marketing this pretty hard. This could be a sleeper hit. Now, I thought that I saw that this was coming out in streaming, but maybe it's not. Maybe this is going to be in theaters, and if so, well, it says only in theaters, so I guess so. So this one I am excited about tentatively. This could be cool, but it also could be some really weird, political deep dive thing that ends up being more divisive than you expect. Hopefully not, but I don't know. It seems weird, seems kind of cool, and it's an R-rated, psychological thriller, which I like. So I'm on board. So this will be an interesting weekend to watch at the theaters. And this, I think, is really kind of, obviously it's the end of August. This is going to be the send off for the summer, I think, because coming after that, the calendar is really more of this isn't the one where you're going to put all of the butts in all of the seats, and this summer already wasn't that to begin with. So we've got Reagan, this biography, history film about Ronald Reagan, which is starring Dennis Quaid. It might do a little bit. Now this slingshot film, this sci-fi thriller with Casey Affleck, this one could kind of be a thriller or a kind of a hidden hit, with this being a sci-fi thriller. And then we've also got this Afraid movie, which I don't know much about, but these horror, mystery, sci-fi things, specifically horror, tend to be the sleeper hits. But they also don't clean up shop, and make all the money, but they have their niche audience that is very dedicated to going and seeing everything horror that comes out. Now, here we are in September, and this is the one that could have legs. It could last a while if it's actually good, and it's Beetlejuice. This movie right here, after being this might be the first hit after the summer. Now, the thing is that Tim Burton does not gather the audience that he used to. His films have been kind of diminishing as far as, the turnouts for them, but this is a known franchise. It is very loved. And it seems like a return to form. They are using practical effects. It just feels a lot like the original film. And it looks like they are really leaning into that. Also, this is part of it that's going to grab people as well, is the cast. We've got him working with Jenna Ortega again, which he's recently worked with. And then we've got Michael Keaton back as Beetlejuice, which is awesome. We've got Winona Ryder back. I mean, we've got Willem Dafoe in this, and Justin Theroux, Danny DeVito, Catherine O'Hara. The cast is really solid for this movie, and I think that alone could have people show up and being attached to this franchise. I'm excited for it. I want to see it. And I think that this could be the first big hit after the, end of summer situation. So going on from there, we have Speak No Evil, and then Am I Racist? Now, the reason I mention that is because Matt Walsh's last movie actually was kind of a sleeper hit. Not necessarily, it wasn't in theaters, but it did really well, and he's kind of this documentarian type filmmaker, but it's Daily Wire. This is going to have a very specific audience, but I think it does look goofy. He's basically dressing up and trying to fit in with the woke folk and find out, is he racist? So this is going to be an interesting movie at the very least, and we'll have people talking, but it will either be probably love for it or an absolute seething hatred. Now, speak no evil, this one could have been really good. This is a remake, and maybe it will be, but the problem is that the trailer itself, I think, shows the entire film. I mean, straight up the whole movie. And so just don't watch the trailer if you don't want it ruined, and you might end up loving it. But I think that James McAvoy in this type of a role, which I don't want to spoil, we've seen him do this type of thing before, and he's excellent. And so I'm excited to see what he does with this. But on the same hand, it's like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it because of just the simple fact of the trailer and what they did and how much of this movie they ruined. Because if it's like, oh, well, maybe you didn't see the original, but it doesn't matter now because you've seen the trailer. So, and this one kind of, I think, leans to some degree on the twist. Now, we're coming into September 20th here. This is interesting because we have Transformers 1. This is an animated movie. I heard that trailer 2 got people more interested in trailer 1. I am not super excited. I mean, this is a Chris Hemsworth, animated movie. I think that this one is going to kind of be a blip on the radar. It's got a stacked cast. I mean, Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, John Hamm, Lawrence Fishburne. It keeps going. Steve Buscemi. Good God. I mean, the cast for this is nuts, but it very much looks like a modern audience's Transformers, and maybe it's cool. Maybe it's awesome. I'll probably end up taking my son. He might love it. And maybe that's the thing, is that as long as kids love it and they show up, then that's what really matters for this. And it'll be great. Now, the other thing, we've got a horror movie, and we're getting close to Halloween time, getting close to October, is this Bagman movie here, which could do something. I don't know a whole lot about it. And then we also have Wolves, which is a thriller with Brad Pitt and George Clooney. This thing could also be another one of those that ends up being bigger. Now, it might not, make a gajillion dollars at the theater, but I could also see this thing. There's not a lot of news on it yet. I could see it being pushed back, and this might not come out in September. I will be interested to see if it holds its release date. Following after that, we're here at September 27th, and we've got Megalopolis, if I said that right. It's a mouthful. But anyways, this movie, this has got a lot of buzz, good and bad, all sorts of things. This is the R-rated new Francis Ford Coppola film. This is supposed to be his big thing. He is dumping everything onto this movie. I think he even funded it. There's a lot of interesting things surrounding it, but also there's a lot of really bad buzz about him. But the cast alone, and just the fact that they've been doing the film festival circuit with this, and the cast, we've got Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, we've got Aubrey Plaza here. I think this is a chick. This Emmanuel chick is from Game of Thrones, actually, if I remember right. But we're getting a return for Shia LaBeouf, which I'm excited about. Jon Voight, Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, the cast keeps going and going and going. So I don't think this is going to do gangbusters, but this is going to be an interesting one to watch and see if it's going to see how it turns out. It's about an architect who wants to rebuild New York City after a disaster, and he wants to turn it into this utopia, but it looks very kind of weird and effects heavy and just over the top and bright and flashy, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I think also the bad press about Francis Ford Coppola making out with extras and stuff is maybe not gonna bode so well for this movie, but who knows. Now, right here kicking off October, we've got Joker Folie They Do, I guess is how you said that. I have no idea, but this movie, I'm gonna be completely honest, not excited about it. Don't care. Maybe some people are. I think the first one was really solid. They've already got a runtime. It's over 2 hours. It's almost 2.5 hours. So maybe, excuse me, maybe a little over long. But I mean, they're also going for a musical route. But this is Todd Phillips back directing again. And I mean, this is a sequel to the first Joker film, which was loved. And now they've added in, Zazie Beetz, Lady Gaga, and some other players besides just Joaquin Phoenix. This could be great. But I'm not going to lie. I've seen the trailer. I'm not excited. I'm not excited for the approach. I just don't know how this is going to be. Now, this Monster Summer movie actually has my interest piqued. I'm curious how this is going to be. It's a PG-13. Kind of almost looks like more of a throwback type of film. but it's an adventure horror mystery kind of family-esque film. When a mysterious force begins to disrupt their big summer fun, Noah and his friends team up with a retired police detective to embark on a monstrous adventure to save their friend. This sounds really fun. Almost sounds not quite like Monster Squad, but one of these, like, 80s throwback films. It looks a lot like that. We've got Mel Gibson here, which that alone has me excited. Kevin James is supposedly in it. Like, I think this sounds fun, and out of that weekend, honestly, I'm more excited about seeing Monster Summer than Joker. So, that's just my probably hot take. Now, moving on through the summer here, this was the 4th. Excuse me. We have the Unraveling. Not sure about this yet. I haven't looked into it much, but we've got Terrifier 3. And this one seems to be one that people will show up for. It's going to have its niche audience, but it's kind of weird because it's Christmas themed. They're releasing in October. I guess makes sense. They can take a different approach with it and this franchise, and then kind of, it's a lower budget horror movie that franchise that people like. So I'm interested. It's coming out in October. I don't really care to see it. I'm sure that we will probably be pushed to seeing it by Matt with Criticalist Cast Unhinged. So we'll see what happens then. Now, October 18th, we have Smile 2. I did not see Smile 1. I've heard Smile 1's pretty solid, but horror movies are made on the cheap. They have their audiences. People will probably show up for this, and it will probably do fairly well. Now, right here at the end of October, we have, on October 25th, Venom: The Last Dance. Am I excited about this? Not really. Am I going to watch it? Probably. This is supposed to be the last Venom film. Now, he might go on and do some stuff with maybe the MCU if they tie it in somehow weird with this multiverse stuff or something. I don't know. But it's just another Venom movie. I thought the last one was not great. The first one was okay. But some people really love these, and I think people will show up. And I mean, I like Tom Hardy, but the Sony Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, whatever, has not been doing that great. So, we'll see if people show up for that. Now, we're here in November. November tends to be a little bit of a quiet month. Not a whole lot really happens. We've got some history, war dramas with Blitz. Now, A Real Pain actually has my interest. So now this weekend on November 1st, we've got Here, which is this Tom Hanks movie, and A Real Pain, like I mentioned a second ago, has my interest. I'll talk about that one first. A Real Pain is going to be a comedy starring, let's see here. This is going to be Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. Now, I've seen some press about this, and it sounds interesting. I really like these two. I think they can be very funny together. It sounds like they had a lot of fun making this movie. I think they're both excellent, high-energy actors, and so I am intrigued to watch this, but it's not going to do gangbusters, I don't think. This will be one of those that people will probably end up seeing at home instead of in theaters. This Blitz history war drama might do fairly well. We've got a Luke Evans action thriller, which isn't going to do a whole lot. Now here, there is a chance this is going to be one of those Oscar bait films. This is a Tom Hanks movie where they are de-aging him and his wife. And so it's Tom Hanks and Robin White, right? And there's some other folks in it. But basically, if you have not heard about this movie, the entire film takes place with the camera in one place, in one home, in one room, and follows this couple through their whole life. Very interesting concept, interesting idea. I'm not crazy about Tom Hanks anymore, but this is a Robert Zemeckis movie. They've worked together plenty, and this is. I'll be interested to see how this does, but like I said, this is one of those Oscar bait films. At the very least, you're going to hear people talking about it, so just be ready to hear about it when it does come out. Now, moving on through November, looks like not a whole lot is happening right here on the 8th. This Conclave movie might do something. I don't know a whole lot about it, but with the cast, it could do well. But this is a thriller about the Pope, sounds like. So, I don't know. We'll see. Cardinal Lawrence is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new post where he finds himself at the center of a conspiracy. Could be cool. I don't know. We'll see. Not my bag, but, maybe people will check it out. And then we've got this Christmas film here, a little bit before Christmas, which might do something. And so moving on from there, the next big one right here, November 15th, Red One. This one will probably do something. I would think because it is Chris. We've got Chris Evans here and The Rock. So Lucy Liu, J.K. Simmons, another stacked cast here. And this is one of these, kind of Christmas films that's coming out a little bit before Christmas. It's about a kidnapped Santa Claus and his security team trying to find him. and Chris Evans is a bounty hunter who is involved as well. So this sounds fun. It sounds goofy, and this could actually be pretty cool. They're saying it's going to be theaters only. I thought this was another one that like Amazon or somebody was putting out, but I must have been totally wrong about seeing that. But it's PG-13 Christmas movie. This could be fun. I think this could do really well, and this might be when things ramp back up. We also have this Heretic movie, which I hadn't heard of until recently. This sounds really cool. It's a horror thriller with Hugh Grant, and it's basically about two young women trapped in a house with him, and it sounds creepy, and this is probably one of those where you don't really want to see the trailer. You just want to wait till it comes out and check it out. Mostly unknown, but this is an A24 movie. We know they like to keep it weird. We know they put out bangers, so this one could be worth checking out. And actually, we've got a Michael Cera Christmas movie here, which who knows? It sounds like they're really going hot in November for these Christmas films. Now, this is the big weekend right here. This thing, these two movies, this is the thing that you're going to hear people talking about. We got Gladiator 2 and Wicked in the same weekend. This thing on November 22nd is the weekend to watch. These films could both do very well. If they are good, then this could be a Barbenheimer type situation here, where we've got two very different types of films, two very different types of audiences, and people are excited about both and show up for both. Stack cast for both. Wicked, I'm not excited about. This is based off the book series and musicals, and it's set in the Wizard of Oz universe. And just with the cast, it's directed by John M. Q. We got Ariana Grande. John M. Chu. But yes, and some other big players in this movie. It's going to be a musical. Like I said, not my bag, but there will definitely be people showing up for this movie. Gladiator 2, we've talked about that in the past. This could also do quite well, but also kind of like, did we need this sequel? But hey, if it's good and Ridley Scott can keep the pace up and keep this movie chugging along, then it could end up being quite good. But this is going to be the weekend to watch closer towards the end of the year. Now, we've got November 27th here with Moana 2. This one, I'm very interested. Inside Out 2 did very well, and this one could too. This all comes down to what Disney decided to do with this film. Did they decide to release the trash that they've been releasing lately? Or is this more of a Inside Out 2 Deadpool Wolverine type of situation where they're giving the fans what they want, stick to their roots, keep it simple, just give us a good story, give us good animation, a good movie, and people will show up for it. So this has the potential to do very well. So these could be several good weekends, here together. And obviously, if you know much about what happens with the cinema, things do really well here towards these November, December months, or can. Not quite summer numbers, but with the year that we've had, the jury is out. Now, this is really weird. Some kind of weird werewolf movie. I just wanted to click on it just for kicks and giggles. I know nothing about this. It's a Frank Grillo movie. This will probably be a lower budget, ridiculous, action horror thriller, as it states. I'm curious to see what happens with that movie. But so right here at the beginning of the year, there's not, or December, sorry, there's not going to be a whole lot. Now, December 13th, we've got this Lord of the Rings animated film, also on the same weekend as Kraven the Hunter. These are two bigger films coming out on the same weekend. I am very interested. This animated movie, not a whole lot is known about it. This is more of like a deep cut Lord of the Rings type of thing, but it could be very cool. I'm very interested in the fact that this is more of like an anime style film in the Lord of the Rings world. It could be awesome. I will definitely be seeing it. And coming out against Kraven is what's interesting. They decided to go rated R with this. This movie has been pushed back a million times. I have no idea how it's going to be. It might be awesome. It might be terrible. I can't tell you, but I do really like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm interested in Russell Crowe being in this. There are some other, recognizable actors in this movie, but this is part of that Spider-Man Spider-Verse. And as we know, most of those movies are very bad. This one, though, I did have hope in. The fact that they're sending it to December is a little weird, but clearly they think that this is the time for it. I have no idea why it's been shelved so long, but hey, I'll check it out. So, coming on after that, we're getting right here near the end of the year. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I can almost guarantee you this movie will do very well. If you've seen the other two, people show up for it. These movies have made money. Kids like them. Now, we've also got it going up against the Mufasa movie. I do not think this movie's going to do well. This is another live-action Lion King movie. People are very lukewarm on the last, and just like the question of the day is, why do we need a Mufasa movie? Now, some of the cast from the last Lion King film are back, like Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner, who are playing Timon and Pumbaa, which I think is a little odd, but this is a prequel to The Lion King and just a weird film that I don't really understand why it's here. But, you know, maybe Disney markets the crap out of it and it does well, but Disney has shown that they don't get the box office numbers that they used to. And so I don't know, when we get back to that, what the fans want. I don't know that the fans want this. So I think there's a good chance that Sonic could make Mufasa look bad. Now, after that, we're right here at the end of the year, the final countdown, and honestly, to the film that I am most excited about this year, which is Nosferatu. Why this is coming out on Christmas Day, I have absolutely no idea. Very weird horror movie, but it could be awesome for a Christmas movie. I will check it out. Robert Eggers does excellent work, and I love his films, and the cast on this is bonkers. There are a lot of people in it that you will know. We've got Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok, which is, you know, Nosferatu. And this is based off of the older film from, I don't even know when the original Nosferatu was made, but horror movie. And, I mean, they're doing this in a very interesting color palette throughout. It looks stunning, and I think that it's going to be amazing. If you have not seen any of Robert Eggers' movies, I highly recommend it. As far as what he's done that's my favorite, really love The Lighthouse. The Witch is a really solid film. The Northman is a freaking masterpiece. And this guy is just showing that he can make really, really quality films. And I think that's why they put it at this time of the year. But it is still a little odd. But I think it's going to be excellent and should probably do fairly well because it seems like there's a lot of people pretty excited about it. And I think that, honestly, as far as 2024 goes, that's what's going to end things out for the movie. So December is going to be quite busy, and there will be a lot of competition, and it's going to be an interesting time to watch. But there's a lot still coming out this year. There's a lot still happening, and I think that we have some things to definitely look forward to, especially with how the early part of this year has gone, and there are definitely some heavy hitters towards the end of the year. So as far as all of this goes, I want to know what you guys are most excited about, what you're most interested in seeing. I know this was a different format. This isn't exactly news per se, but I just wanted to touch in on what is left for the year, what we are going to be watching, and a lot of people don't know what's still coming out. So now you do. Let me know what you want to see. And like I said, as always, subscribe, like, do all those fun things because it helps us a ton. And visit criticalist.com and create yourself an account and go ahead and review something you've watched recently because I want to know what everybody's been seeing. So make sure to ping me on Criticalist and let me know what you've been reviewing and just come say hi. Guys, it's been real as always. And tomorrow we will be checking out Borderlands like I mentioned, and we will be watching that and dropping our review on Friday. So look out Friday for our review of Borderlands, and we will let you know if it is worth seeing or not with a spoiler-free and then a spoilery review, so you can know whether or not it's worth seeing in theaters. So that review will drop early on Friday. So you guys take it easy, and we will see you then. It's been real.